be talking about hormone receptor evolution in variable environments. And I'm interested in this question that a lot of us think a lot about, which is, do organisms adapt to variability in their environment? When the environment changes, organisms have to cope with that change by adjusting their behavior and their physiology. And one trait that they use to adjust to these environmental changes is the stress response. The fight or flight response that's a hormonal feedback loop, and it's controlled by glucocorticoid hormones. However, this response only occurs when the hormone actually binds to its receptor. And so the glucocorticoid receptor is this potential modulator and orchestrator of the entire stress response. And I'm interested in the molecular evolution of this particular receptor. And I'm looking at the evolution of this receptor in a diverse family of African starlings that actually live in a wide variety of environments. So they're distributed throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And this purple is just showing individual ranges of 27 species of starlings. Some of them live in wet environments like the forest. Others live in environments like the savanna, in which variance in the rainfall, the amount of rainfall, and the predictability of that rainfall are all incredibly variable. And so in starlings, the timing and the duration of the annual rain actually determine the survival and reproduction of these birds. And thus, the precipitation may actually be a key driver of selection on different coping strategies for coping with environmental variation. And so I'm interested in whether precipitation, either in the level of mean, variance, or predictability, could actually drive selection on this hormone receptor. And so I sequenced the hormone receptor in these 27 species of starlings, and I find that there is, in fact, this substantial genetic variation, a substantial variation in substitution rate among different lineages. Given this really significant variation in substitution rate, what might be driving this pattern? We have this hypothesis that precipitation is really important for the life history of these birds, so can we actually identify any signatures of selection where precipitation is driving this? To test this question, I ran a phylogenetic regression, and I find that actually lineage-specific variation in the substitution rate is in fact associated with variance in rainfall, such that birds that are living in really variable environments where there's a lot of variance in precipitation actually have much lower substitution rates. So birds like the Madagascar starling, that live in Madagascar where there's a lot of rainfall and a lot of rainfall variability, show fewer substitutions than expected. And so, in support of this, we find this really strong relationship between environmental variability and substitution rate. And we find strong evidence for selection as well on particular lineages using a branch site test in PAML. There's a little bit of evidence, there's 2 codons that are under positive selection in this gene, but overwhelmingly the evidence is for purifying selection on the glucocorticoid receptor. And so these patterns of substitution rate suggest that the purifying selection on the glucocorticoid receptor is really driving what we observe here. And overall, what this seems like, or what it suggests to us, is that environmental variability is actually creating this maintenance of a successful coping strategy. So this one copy of the glucocorticoid receptor is conserved across the entire family and might be the result of purifying selection. And basically the broad takeaway from this is that even with really coarse range-wide data of environmental variability, we can explain these really small changes in substitution rates. Thank you.